In dark times, it's important to remember that this too shall pass. This episode is focused on positivity and features 3 of my most positive songs. It's important not to forget the strides that we've made in the last 50 years. When I was a child, there were still white and black water fountains. It was illegal to be gay. Gay marriages were unheard of. It literally did not exist. In some states, you could be imprisoned for sodomy. Mixed-race families were looked upon with scorn and were still illegal in some states. Today's episode is a celebration. I am, by nature, a hopeful person, but I realize that change takes time. Change is hard for some people to deal with, so the forces of change and the forces of the status quo are always at odds with each other. The social pendulum swings slowly back and forth. I'm not saying that those who oppose change need to be treated with kid gloves, but they shouldn't be run over roughshod either. The conversations that need to take place right now between the proponents of change and the status quo are not taking place because we've become so divided and isolated in our viewpoints. Neither side is willing to listen to the other because, I'm right and you're wrong. Hi, I'm Tim Rose, and this is the Tim Tunes Podcast. In this episode, we'll cover 3 of my most positive songs that celebrate the admiration for another person, anticipation of what's to come, and finally, a declaration of hope for the future. This is the last episode of Season 2, so I'll be taking a month or so off from producing the podcast. When I come back, I'll be featuring a new format with some interviews with some of the biggest influencers in my life, and some episodes that focus on specific projects or processes. Sometimes there's someone in your life who is a beacon of love, a person who is hard to be without whom it's difficult to imagine your life. We're all constantly being beaten down by negative thoughts. It's really important to have a person or place where you can find the positivity. Negative thoughts, like positive thoughts, create the world we live in. Too many negative thoughts can be overwhelming. Find some place to be happy, or at least to have the weight of the world lifted off your shoulders for a bit. This song is about the kind of unconditional love that can occur between not just lovers, but also family and friends. It's a kind of love where you begin to take on the attributes of those you love. Not consciously, it's just something that happens. It's why dogs look like they're people. Also, you don't have to agree with someone to love them. If you always agree with someone on everything, something weird is going on there. This song, Shining Light, written in the late 70s or early 80s, is a testimony of love and admiration. It's one of the best surviving examples of my early writing. This song was recorded in the early 80s on a small TEAC 4-track recorder. This is one of the first songs I recorded with my new Paul Reed Smith electric guitar using a digital delay I borrowed from a guy at Chuck Levin's. I used an old Kay Rickenbacker knockoff bass and sang all the parts myself. Now, please enjoy Shining Light. You are my shining light and my illusion of shadow. Even in my darkest night, you are always there. When we're apart and I feel so alone, I have but to close my eyes to see you calling me home as I hold you in my heart, as I see you in my mind. Suddenly we're not so far apart as I watch you shine.
lessons don't seem fair. Sometimes the truth is hard to take. But now I see the life we've made is different from my dreams. I didn't get what I asked for, but what I've got is better than the pictures of my scheme. You are my shining light in my illusion of shadow. Even in my darkest night, you are always there. You are my shining light in my illusion of shadow. Even in my darkest night, you are always there.
Life is full of scary choices. What seems like a step into the abyss is often just our fear of change. Sometimes we need a push to move off the cliff and find the path in front of us. This song is an appeal to move forward and see what lies ahead. It's an invitation to share a life together, intertwined in an embrace of love. Before my daughter Chelsea was married, she, my wife, her fiancé Jesse, and I were all sitting in the living room of their small apartment in Brooklyn, New York. I was just sort of playing a few songs, and when I played this one, Chelsea said, "I've never heard that one before. Play it again." So I did, and she liked it so much that she asked me to play it live for her wedding, which I did. I like to believe in true love, and I think this is one of my best songs on that score. At least, Chelsea thinks so. I wrote this song in the early 80s and recorded this in my basement studio in the late 80s. I programmed all the parts on my samplers and recorded all the voices. Here is Edge of Possibility.
As we move through life, I can only hope we find the contentment that is yours and the contentment that is mine. So we grow together as leaves upon the vine and blossom forth as each day dawns until the end of time. We are standing on the edge of possibility, holding in our hearts the key to what can be. We have only to take that step over the edge to see what we can be and be what we can be. With our heart full of love, your eyes look to mine. We have come so far together in so short a time. Although we love forever, the feeling always grows. And as we learn new ways to love, we learn new ways to show that we are standing on the edge of possibility, holding in our hearts the key to what can be. We have only to take that step over the edge to see what we can be what we can be.
like the way when you take that step, you sort of fly off the cliff in that to see what we can be section. As you can imagine, writing a story about death and dying can be kind of a downer. I needed something uplifting and hopeful in the middle of my musical The Waiting Room. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to a few of this season's podcasts and you'll get the gist. I wanted to write an anthem full of hope. Hope that we would overcome cancer and make it something in the past. Something that people only talk about in the past tense, like smallpox or the Black Death or the Spanish flu or the never mind. I see this as something that will happen, if not in our lifetimes, then certainly in the lifetimes of our children. The song is an anthem to join the fight and help us end cancer. I wrote this song as part of my musical The Waiting Room around 2017 and recorded most of the tracks then. I've recently reworked some of the harmonies and such. I hope you enjoy Someday Soon.
I dream of a day not so far away when the battle is done and the race is won. We all look to that day, each in our own way, and hope that it comes quickly for everyone. Someday soon, someday soon, someday soon, we'll sing a different tune. Someday soon, one by one our foes will fall, then we'll all stand tall, shoulder to shoulder. Someday soon, but until that day breaks, we'll do everything it takes. We'll sing out our songs as the work keeps moving on. Oh, the joyful noise we'll make the whole world shake. We can hardly wait, it won't be long. Someday soon, someday soon, someday soon, we'll sing a different tune. Someday soon, one by one our foes will fall, then we'll all stand tall, shoulder to shoulder. Someday soon, why don't you join us now? Because some way, somehow, we'll see this journey, friend, through to the end. So stand up now and sing, and feel the joy we bring in the power of the message that we sing. Someday soon, someday soon, someday soon, we'll sing a different tune. Someday soon, one by one our foes will fall, then we'll all stand tall, shoulder to shoulder. Someday soon, shoulder to shoulder. Someday soon, someday soon, someday soon.
So ends Season 2 of the Tim Tunes podcast. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the 65 songs over the first 21 episodes. I'll be back in a few months with a new set of songs and a new format. Thanks for listening. As always, you can subscribe to this podcast or stream or purchase my published music on your favorite source, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, or Amazon. You can also reach out to me at timtoonspodcast1@gmail.com. I'll be back in a few months with a whole new bag of tricks. Until then,